When I first started getting into opera, I was in the 6th grade, and I was drawn initially to the bel canto repertoire, where there was a lot of show-off acrobatics. And I loved the high notes, I loved the fast runs. I loved some of the melodies, I loved some of the chromaticism that those composers had developed, but I really didn't understand the full dramatic potential of opera and what to do with all the parts in between that weren't as show-offy. And the person that made all the difference for me, the person that finally made opera click, was Maria Callas. And it was actually one very specific recording that made me get both her voice, which initially, like a lot of people, I'd come across some of her recordings later in her career where her high notes were more strident. The voice wasn't quite what it used to be, and those take more time to learn to appreciate. So I hadn't gotten her, and I hadn't gotten the full potential of opera, and with one recording, Callas unlocked both for me. That recording was Pace Pace Mio Dio, the final soprano aria from Verdi's La Forza del Destino, which is a really underrated masterpiece. A lot of people hate on the plot, but I actually think the plot is brilliant. I think the characters are very compelling. I think it's a beautiful, well-balanced opera. I don't think cuts are particularly necessary at all. The full version is very much worth sitting through. But I want to listen to Callas' recording with you and point out some of the things that made me understand just what someone could do with notes on a page, transform them and breathe life into them, almost unveil the true hidden potential of the score, and with it, of all opera. And of course, the opening theme is here, the theme of destiny that's been playing throughout the entire opera, from the beginning overture through all the scenes. Of course, an amazing messa di voce. So every single one of those patches is shaded a little bit differently. She starts off louder and then gets softer and softer. It gets more introspective. There's that tear in the voice that she was so characteristically known for. Every single phrase is painted. Nothing is left wasted. Nothing in the score is left underread. And so much of her expressive potential comes from the use of chest voice in the lower register. And her vibrato is amazing. So much of the anguish is contained in the vibrato, and her ability to just attack a note and back off. Verdi's modulations and chord progressions in this opera, in this late opera of his career, are also incredible. Very chromatic. I mean, she just perfectly does that crescendo de crescendo. Wow. Amazing low register. And someone had pointed out in that second Fatalità on the G4 how every single G has a different nuance. I saw that in a comment section years ago, and that's completely true. A passionate switch exactly from chest voice into head voice on Alvaro. Even the grace note, so much passion and emotion. Every one of those accents. The portamento and that. The willingness to just use chest voice, the ability to do dynamics even in her chest register. So much in that dramatic leap. Amazing shift in tone and in momentum in the aria itself. Brilliant Verdi. And Callas will capture it perfectly. Full chest voice. And such clear, incisive middle voice. I think those B flats on the Maledizione are in full voice. Incredible. And one of the most powerful finishes of any Verdi aria. He also writes a melodic tritone, so that maledizione, that's a very unusual and dramatic skip of exactly a tritone, perfectly executed. And what Callas does is she takes the starting B flat, and I think almost sings at least two of the three of those in full voice, maybe all three. I don't know, and it just, it's so clear and powerful. She completely makes the most of every single little moment. And then she takes the ossia, the alternative traditional ending where there's one more maledizione added instead of just holding the F and up to the B flat. To be totally honest, in some sense, maybe it's vocally harder to hold the F and then just proceed into the B flat, but I think dramatically it works even better to take the alternative ending. Just an incredible performance. I think this is one of Verdi's most underrated operas. The theme of this curse that runs throughout Leonora's acceptance into this cave next to the convent, next to the monastery of men, where she runs away from the horrible fate of her father dying by an accident when Alvaro, who wants to elope with Leonora, sets down his weapon and it kills her father. This curse that's placed in the cave where Leonora is staying, where she's run off in a sense from her destiny, is extremely important. The curse is placed dramatically at the end of the scene where she sings the famous La Vergine degli Angeli, where she's welcomed into the monastic life. to live the rest of her life in seclusion because she has nowhere else to go, no one else to be with. And we see that when the man that she loves, Don Alvaro, who she's presumed to be dead all this time, comes in this next scene, he himself will invoke a curse upon himself, coming into this place, having now slain in his anger Leonora's brother. It's a story it's actually, I think it's a brilliant story. I think it's one of Verdi's greatest Christian operas. It has amazing themes that are very similar to Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. It's very similar to the musical in that sense, although Les Miserables focuses more on the story of redemption, whereas I think La Forza del Destino, the power of destiny, focuses on Don Alvaro's own spiritual journey from his initial youthful pride, from his self-identification with the pagan gods of his ancestors, because he has mixed ancestry, some Native American ancestry that plays part of the drama of why the Leonora's family rejects him. But by the end of the story, he is so thoroughly humbled that he turns to God in complete repentance, and he tragically loses everything along the way. So this is one of the most powerful openings of any scene in opera. It's Verdi at his very best, and I think Maria Callas does something extraordinary with the score. You can observe the simplicity of what you see on the page, and then compare that to how much she creates out of what Verdi has set down. She almost brings out the hidden intentions of the composer. But sometimes with Callas, I honestly wonder if she sees more in the score than is there, in the sense of more than the composer could have seen at the time that he was writing. And of course, great art takes on a life of its own. It's greater than anything that the original artist could have anticipated. And the pairing between Verdi and Callas was one of the most successful musical pairings in recorded history. So I hope you enjoy. This is a 1954 La Forza del Destino studio recording under the baton of Tullio Serafin with the Orchestra of La Scala. And this is a 2014 EMI, now Warner remaster from the original master tapes. I've gone in and I've re-EQ'd it, and I've done some stereo imaging that I think has brought out even more clarity and immediacy from the audio just for this video. So please let me know what you think in the comments. Maria Callas was completely formative in my journey of understanding opera. And to this day, whenever I revisit her recordings, she really does come across as artistically almost without equal. Thank you so much for watching, and have a blessed day.